Now you can see it. That kid missing a tooth. That kid missing a tooth. Let's talk about word problems. There it is. Before we even get started, slope is the same thing as rise over run. Slope is rise over run. Okay, that line there usually means the word per if you're talking about rate. Rate and slope are the same thing. It's just rate has to do with real life objects. So let me bring that back down here. The rise, slope and rate are the same thing. Slope and rate are the same thing, but rate talks about real life things. So the rise is going to be the y-axis, the up-down axis. Okay? And instead of saying over, I'm going to say per, like what a kitty cat says. And the run is the x-axis. So rate is y-axis per x-axis. Okay, so when we deal with this problem right here, and it asks us, what is the slope or the rate? Well, the slope means I have to do rise over run. So I pick 2 points. Let's pick this point right here. And this point right here, it doesn't really matter. Now, as we count them, make sure we understand that when we have real life problems, not everything's going to always go up by 1. In fact, this goes up by 5. Okay, it goes up by 5, 10, 15, 20. So when I go from this blue to that blue, I'm not going up 1, 2, 3. I'm going up 5, 10, 15, 20. So my slope so far is 20 rise over. So I went up 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 20. Now, when I do go over, it is 1 because each of these marks is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went up 5, 10, 15, 20 over 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can simplify 20 over 4 to 5. So my slope is 5, or my rate is 5. What does that mean here? That means if it's water use, we use in real life 5. Now, what I said rate means is the y-axis per x-axis. Y-axis per x-axis. The y-axis is gallons, and the x-axis is minute. So I use 5 gallons per minute. 5 gallons per minute. Okay. What does the y-intercept mean? Well, let's figure out what the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is when I go to the y-axis, which is that guy. Where does my green line cross the y-axis? Right there at 0, 0. So what is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is 0, 0. What does that mean here? That means if my x value is 0, that means my time is 0. My time is 0. So anytime my time is 0, I'll say at the beginning, because my time is 0, which means I just start at the beginning. My water used is also 0. So at the beginning, no water was used. At the beginning, no water was used. Okay, so the slope gives you a rate: miles per hour, feet per second, gallons per minute. Okay, and you find that by doing rise over run. The y-intercept gives you usually what happens at the beginning of something. So most of the time when it asks us, what does the y-intercept mean? We're usually going to say at the beginning, blah, blah, blah. Most of the time, not every time, most of the time. Okay. All right. What is the slope slash rate? Well, let's pick 2 points. That point and that point. It's a negative slope, so I'm going to put a negative there. I go down 1 block, and since the y-axis marks are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm actually going to go down 1. So my rise is 1, and my run is, it goes over 1, but going over 1 is actually 25. Every x value is 25. So I don't go down 1 over 1. I go down 1 over 25. So my slope is negative 1 over 25. So if I'm losing, if I have a negative slope, that means I'm decreasing or I'm losing. So what does my slope mean? I lose or I decrease. Let me see. Again, going back, the rate is the y-axis per the x-axis. So something per something. Gallons per mile. So I lose 1 gallon per 25 miles. Where did I get the 1 from? Up here. Where did I get the 25 from? Down here. So if I go down 1 over 25, I lose 1 gallon every 25 miles I drive. That makes sense. If you drive your car, you're going to lose the gasoline in your car. So you lose 1 gallon per 25 miles. If you're wondering, well, you used 2 numbers there. Why didn't you use 2 numbers here? Because I just got a number 5. If I wanted to, I could have turned this into 5 over 1, and then I can say I use 5 gallons per 1 minute, but I didn't have to do that. What is the y-intercept? All right, well, the y-intercept involves me going to my y-axis. There it is up there, up tippy top. And wherever my line goes through the y-axis is my y-intercept. So my y-intercept is 15. So I'm going to give the point 0, 15. 0 is my x value. So I haven't driven yet. So I have driven 0 miles. So I can say, again, if I drive 0 miles or at the very beginning, so I'll say that if I drive 0 miles, and remember, word problems aren't a science. Your answer might be different. You could say at the beginning, I will have 15 gallons of gas in my car. That's fine. I'm just saying if you drive 0 miles, I'll have 15 gallons of gas in my car. I'll just put gallons and leave it at that. Okay, the y-intercept is how much you have at the beginning or what you have total at the beginning. And at the beginning, I have 15 gallons. So if I drive 0 miles, I'll have 15 gallons. At the beginning, I'll have 15 gallons of gasoline in my tank. However you word it out, as long as you are saying something to the effect of 15 gallons at the beginning, you're fine. What is the slope or the rate? Okay, well, let's pick 2 points. Here's a point, and here's a point. It looks like on my y-axis, I go up by 5s, so up 5. So if I go up 1 block, I'm actually going up 5. And if I go over, I am going over 1. So my slope is up 5 over 1. Up 5 over 1. 5 over 1 is the same as 5. Rate means y-axis per x-axis. So what does it mean? You spend, or what does it mean? Spend, I spend, you spend, he or she spends $5 per game. Okay, it's y-axis per x-axis. $5 per 1 game. My total cost is $5 per 1 game. So I will say $5 per game. What is the y-intercept? It looks like 0.5, so I will say 0.5. It could be 0.6, but that's all right. We'll say 0.5. What does that mean? That means it costs $5 to play 0 games. Or you can say at the beginning, I've already spent $5. Or as long as you say something to the effect that this 0 has to do with games and that 5 has to do with cost, as long as you say something that $5 for 0 games, you're in good shape. Now, using the same graph, I'm going to answer a question or two. How much was spent on 4 games? All right, let me find the games. There's the games. So 4 games is here. 4 games matches up with that dot, which matches up with that number. And that number is $25, baby. If $40 was spent, so let me go to $40 was spent. Boom, I hit the line and I go down there. How many games were played? 7. What is the slope or the rate? All right. Well, I don't have any dots. So I could definitely put a dot right there. And I can definitely put a dot right there. I'm not going to put like a dot here because that's in the middle of everything and that's too confusing. I'm only going to put dots where it's obvious I put those dots. What do I have? I have a negative slope. Every time I move up or down, every block is 10. You see it? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So if I'm going to go from this dot to that dot and I go down 2 blocks, I'm actually going down 10 and down 20. So I have negative, my rise is 20, and my run is going to be regular old numbers because every line here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So my run is 1, 2, 3. So my slope or my rate is negative 20 over 3. What does that mean? The 20, remember, it's y-axis per x-axis. So we are going to lose or decrease. Wow. Super laggy today. Let me see if there's a reason why. I see why. All right, fix it. Okay, so let's write that again. What does negative 20 over 3 mean? I lose, much better, 20 cubic feet of air. So I'll say all of that. Cubic. And again, if you don't say all that, that's okay. I lose 20 cubic feet of air. Okay, so 20 per 3 means negative. I lose or I decrease 20 cubic feet per. That's what the line means. And 3 has to do with minutes. Your slope is rise over run or y over x. And so it's going to be cubic feet per minutes. Since it's negative, we say I lose 20 cubic feet per 3 minutes. What does the y-intercept mean? The y-intercept is this dot right here. Or not, what does it mean? What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is 40 or the 0.040. What does it mean? That means when my time is 0 or at the beginning, when my time is 0, there are 40 cubic feet of air. So I guess I could say there. Here's my kids in the background. 40 cubic feet. And I don't have enough room of air. What is the slope? All right. I have a positive slope. So I pick 2 dots. This dot and that dot will do. When I go up by 15s, 15, 30, 45. So I go up by 15. So when I go up 1 block, I'm rising 15. So my rise is 15. When I go over 1 block, I go over 2 hours. So 15 over 2. What does it mean here? I'm talking about songs and hours. So we will say, I don't know if I'm downloading, I don't know if I'm listening to, I don't know if I'm writing. We will say 15 songs per 2 hours. So maybe I have a nice rap album playing. And I can listen to 15 songs per 2 hours. What is the y-intercept? That guy. So the y-intercept is 0, 0. What does it mean here? Well, I listen to no music. Or I'll say this. At the beginning, because it's talking about time. At the beginning, we or he or she listened to 0 songs. I've heard of Trey songs, but 0 songs, that's a different story. Marlena's avatar kind of suits the way I feel all of you are currently feeling. Last one. Who is the faster driver? The steeper the slope, the faster things happen. So Pennington, you, my boy, are the faster driver. Pennington. How far did Williams drive after 2 hours? All right, well, Williams is the green line. Let's go to 2 hours. Let's go up here. There's our line. Boop. That matches up with that, which is 120 miles.